양영태입니다. 요즘 이 연일 윤석열 대통령이 미국에서 대히트를 치고 있습니다. 속된 말로 대히트요. 고상한 말로 굉장한 울림을 주고 있습니다. 미국 국민들에게 깊은 감동과 울림을 지금 주고 있다. 결국 우리는 하나다. 동맹이다. 진짜 동맹이다. 혈맹이다. 아니 그보다 더 진한 형제 같은 그런 동맹이다. 이렇게 생각합니다. 자유를 중심으로 한 자유의 소위 어깨동무를 하고 있는 두 나라 어저께 체감을 했습니다. 아주 기분이 좋았습니다. 이 나라가 이제 핵으로부터의 안전, 모든 곳으로부터의 안전, 경제적 발전 등등 긍정적 신호만을 머릿속에 이렇게 맴돌게 하는 어저께 윤석열 대통령의 그 멋들어진 의회 연설. 그건 상당히 감동적이었습니다. 그런데 이 영어 연설이 오늘 조선닷컴에 이렇게 게재가 됐는데 이걸 아무리 지금 구할래야 윤석열 대통령이 했던 그 영어를 갖다가 구할 수가 없습니다. 아주 멋들어졌을 것 같은데 그 특이한 그 모습에 좌우로 이렇게 돌아가면서 360도 아닌 180도의 모든 모습을 보면서 했던 그 박수, 60번의 우레와 같은 박수, 26번에 달하는 기립박수. 여러분 놀랍지 않습니까? 좌우간 의회에서 초유의 일입니다. 대한민국 대통령이 그렇게 감동의 도가니로 함께 이렇게 몰입되어 있는 것은 처음이었습니다. 워싱턴 DC 미 의회를 찾아가지고 어저께 27일 상하원 합동연설을 했습니다. 저는 이 방송을 우리 방송의 역사에 남기기 위해서 지금 이것을 하고 있습니다. 근데 이 영어 방송이라든가 음력된 걸 갖다가 이렇게 받으려고 여기저기다 연락해 봤더니 없어서 아직 아마 그 원문이 여기 공개가 안 된 모양입니다. 그래서 조선닷컴에서 이 영문을 뽑아왔습니다. 그 조선닷컴에서 영문을 뽑아왔는데 하여튼 영문으로는 남겨야 되기 때문에 서투르나마 제가 뭐 영어는 우리 그 윤석열 대통령보다 뭐 훨씬 못하리라고 저는 훨씬 못하리라고 생각하지만 하여튼 못한 그 발음으로 하여튼 영어를 한번 이 연설문을 기억에 남기기 위해서 이 저의 방송 기록에 남기기 위해서 하게 할 예정입니다. 이날 연설은 자유의 동맹, 행동하는 동맹, Alliance of Freedom, Alliance in Action 이런 제목으로 영어로 44분 정도를 진행했습니다. 윤석열 대통령의 연설 중간에 자기가 미 의회에는 아이돌 그룹 BTS보다 먼저 왔다. 그러면서 영어로 쪼쿠까지 했습니다. 윤 대통령 연설의 의원석과 방청석에서는 박수가 56번, 이중 기립 박수가 23번. 야, 이건 놀라운 일 아니겠습니까? 그래서 이것을 기억하고자 저는 그냥 한번 윤석열 대통령 영어 연설문 조선닷컴에서 게재된 바로 이것을 기록으로 남기고 싶습니다. 자, 하겠습니다. 윤석열 대통령 영어 연설문 Alliance of Freedom, Alliance in Action Address to Joint Meeting of the United States Congress in commemorations of the 70th anniversary of the Republic of Korea and the United States Alliance. Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President, honorable members of the United States Congress, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear citizens of America, a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the propositions that all men are created equal. I stand before the nations with the conviction of freedom, belief in the alien, and resolve to open a new future. For 234 years, Congress has been the symbol of freedom and democracy. This chamber embodies the spirit of the constitutions. I'm honored to address the members of Congress and the people of the United States. Thank you. Both Democrats and Republicans for passing the resolution marking the 70th anniversary of the alliance. Your support has dignified my visit. I know that no matter where you sit, you stand with Korea. Over the past century, we have faced many threats, but the United States always led the world in defense of freedom. Imperial nations fought for colonies, and humanity greatly suffered from the two world wars. America righteously stepped in to defend freedom, but it was not without cost. We remember the leadership of General MacArthur and Admiral Nimitz. But more than 100,000 American men and women perished in the Pacific War. Their sacrifice was not in vain. United States leadership established the New World Order based on free trade. It brought peace and prosperity throughout the world. But prosperity was limited to the free market economies where communist totalitarian nations did not participate. The world was divided into democratic and communist blocs. In 1950, the Korean Peninsula was on the front line. The Soviet Union helped to rearm North Korea. The Soviet Union helped to rearm North Korea. North Korea's surprise attack threatens the peace on the Korean Peninsula and Asia. Korea's freedom and democracy were on the brink. At that decisive moment, the United States did not look the other way. Korean and American soldiers stood shoulder to shoulder and fought bravely. Tales of our heroes were written. General MacArthur caught the enemy off guard with the landing of Incheon and turned the tide of the war. Operation Chromit was one of the greatest decisions ever made in the history of war. The United States 1st Marine Division miraculously broke through a wave of 12 to 120,000 Chinese troops at the Battle of Lake Changjin. Son and daughter of America sacrificed their lives to defend a country they never knew and the people they never met. In the Battle of Lake Changjin alone, 4,500 American services members lost their lives. Over the course of the war, almost 37,000 United States soldiers fell. The late Colonel William Weber fought in the battle for the hill, 324 in the Wonju. He lost his right arm and leg. Yet, this American hero dedicated his life to the honoring the noble sacrifice made by the Korean War veterans. Today, we are honored to have his granddaughter, Miss Diane Weber, with us. Miss Weber, would you stand up, please? On behalf of the Korean people, I would like to thank deeply. We salute his noble services and sacrifice. Thank you, Dine. Some of the Korean War heroes are your family and friends. The late John Conyers Jr., Sam Johnson, and Howard Cooper were veterans, congressmen who promoted freedom and democracy. And the former Representative Charles Rangel has been a strong supporter of the alliance. Korea will never forget the great American heroes who fought with us to defend freedom. Thank you, thank you. I take this opportunity to pay a tribute to all Koreans war veterans and their families. You did not hesitate to send your son and daughter, husband and wives, brothers and sisters. You answered the call to defend the freedom of a country across the Pacific. I thank the United States and its people for honoring the Korean War as a proud legacy. Thank you also for treating the veterans with honor and respect. Thank you, thank you. The war ended after 3 years of intense battle. Our two nations signed the Mutual Defense Treaty and opened a new era, the alliance. Ever since the Korean people rose from ruins of war to build a thriving nation, and at every step, America has stood together with Korea. We have many reasons to celebrate our platinum anniversary. We had no guarantees of success when we started, but today our alliance is stronger than ever, more prosperous together, and more connected like no other. Indeed, it has been the linchpin safeguarding our freedom, peace, and of prosperity. Once recipient of aid, Korea is the only nation in modern history to become a donor. This itself demonstrates the success of our alliance. Let me talk about the history of our alliance. The ties of our cooperation and exchange span over 140 years since the establishment of the diplomatic relations in 1882. In the late 19th century, American missionaries helped to widely introduce the values of freedom and solidarity to Korea. These values are the foundations of the Korea's constitution. They have made a huge impact on our independence moment and the founding of Korea. Horace Underwood, Henry Appenzeller, Mary Scranton, and Rosette Hall are some of the missionaries to set foot in Korea. At the end of the 19th century, they built schools and hospitals. They promoted the education of women. Their efforts laid the foundation for many Korean women to advance into society as educators, journalists, and doctors. In the early 1970s, the Kennedy administrations recommended Professor Rostow model for economic growth. President Park Chung-hee wisely embraced the idea and pushed it economic development forward. It laid the foundation for Korea to become an industrialized country, known as the miracle on the Han River. Korea's economic growth rate was unrivaled. Korea was one of the least developed countries after war. Its annual income was just $67 per capita. Now its economy ranks 10th in the world. Thank you. Seoul was once reduced to ashes. Now it is one of the world's most vibrant digital cities. Busan was once flooded with the war refugees. Now it is world's second largest port city in terms of transshipment volume. It is also bidding to host the World Expo 2030, Korea is winning the hearts of global citizens. It is dynamic, freedom is thriving, and the democracy is robust. Korea and the United States have joined forces to safeguard freedom and democracy, the love of the world, throughout the world. Since World War II, Korea dispatched its warriors of freedom. We fought side by side with the United States in Afghanistan, Iraq, and others. For over 70 years in the history of the alliance, we worked together in military and security sectors. We also expanded our cooperation in the economic field. Our relationship has evolved from one of the unilateral assistance to the partnership that is mutually beneficial. The KORUS FTA was approved with the full support of the United States Congress in 2011. Since then, our bilateral trade has increased by 68%. Korean companies' investment in America has tripled. United States companies' investment in Korea has nearly doubled. Korea companies are contributing to the vitalize the United States economy. They are producing EV batteries, semiconductors, cars, and other products here in America. And more importantly, they are creating decent, well-paying jobs. Take Austin, Texas. Samsung's semiconductor plant has created nearly 10,000 jobs as of 2020. Take Bryan County's Georgia. Hyundai's EV and battery plant is expected to be operational by late 2024. It will produce 300,000 electric vehicles every year. It will employ thousands of Americans. And take Bay City, Michigan. It is home to SK Silicon CSS, where President Biden visited. It is an example of Korea and American companies merging to achieve even great growth. I hope to see more economic cooperations in other parts of America in this regard. I count on your keen interest and support. My friends, years of active cultural and people-to-people exchanges have defended our friendship. This year also marks the 120th anniversary of Korean immigrations to the United States. Early Korean immigrants arrived at the workers on sugar cane plantations in Hawaii. Since then, Korean Americans have made their way into the many parts of the American society. They have played an important role fostering close friendship and writing the history of our alliance. Representatives Young Kim, Andy Kim, Michelle Steele, and Marlene Strickland are here with us. They are a testament to the alliance spanning generations. That's true for each party. It's a relief that you are evenly placed across the aisle. Even more, culture is helping to further deepen our understanding and friendships. Nationality and language differences are no longer barriers. Korean movies, Parasite and Minority have won Oscars. Hollywood films Top Gun and The Avengers are loved by Koreans. I also love Top Gun, Maverick, and also Mission Impossible. And even if you didn't know my name, you may know BTS and their Blackpink. BTS beat me to the White House, but I beat them to Capitol Hills. Korean and American singers reaching high praises in each other's music chart is no longer as a surprise. The United States created global platforms like Netflix. Korean has produced popular series such as Squid Game. We are creating a new pattern of synergy. These cultural exchanges have brought our peoples closer. According to the Chicago Council on Global Affairs, Americans' positive views of Korea reached the highest level since 1978. And according to the Pew surveys last year, Koreans' positive views of the United States reached 89%. It marks the largest increase among all the countries surveyed. Korea and the United States agreed to set up an assistance program for our students. It will help them to study and find jobs actively in each other's country. Honorable members of Congress, I have had 2 careers in my life. My first job was in public prosecutor. My second job is serving as a president of my beloved country. As a prosecutor, my role model was the late Robert Morgenthau. He was the real-life character of District Attorney Adam Schiff in Law and Order. When I was the Prosecutor General, I printed a book titled Robert Morgan's America's Eternal Attorney. I shared it with my junior prosecutors. In the preface, I included the praises an attorney who is silent in the face of a great evil will not even stop pickpockets in the neighborhood. Today, our democracy is at risk. Democracy is a communist political decision-making system to protect freedom and human rights. Such decision-making must be based on the truth and the freely formed public opinions. But today, in many parts of the world, false propaganda and disinformations are distorting the truth and the public opinions. They are threatening democracy. The rule of law allows the freedoms of everyone to coexist. It is upheld by a parliamentary democracy. False propaganda and disinformation corrupt intellectualism. They threaten democracy and the rule of law. Such a totalitarian forces may conceal and disguise themselves as a defenders of democracies of human rights, but in reality, they deny freedom and democracy. We must not be fooled by such deceptions and disguises. We have for so long protected democracy and the rule of law with our blood and sweat. We must work together and fight the forces of falsehood and deceptions and seek to destroy democracy and the rule of law. Those who cherish freedom also respect of the freedom of others. Thus, freedom brings peace. Peace in turn safeguards freedom. Freedom and peace are for sources of creativity and innovation. They bring prosperity and abundance. Our alliance was forged 70 years ago to defend Korea's freedom. The alliance has now become a global alliance that safeguards freedom and peace around the world. Korea will fulfill its responsibilities. It will play its part that matches its economic capacity. In its 1971 inauguration address, President John F. Kennedy said, "My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man." Korea will stand in solidarity with the international communities. We will do what we can for the freedom of the humanity. Korea with the United States will march toward the future. As I took office last year, I pledged to the rebuild Korea, a nation belonging to the people, rooted in freedom, democracy, and market economies. A nation that the people can be truly proud of as it fulfills its role as a responsible member of the international community. Together with the United States, Korea will play the role as a compass for freedom. It will safeguard and broaden the freedom of citizens of the world. But even as we worked in unison of freedom for 70 years. There is one regime determined to pursue a wrong path. That is North Korea. The difference is stark between Seoul that crows freedom and democracy and Pyongyang that choose dictatorship and communism. North Korea has abandoned freedom and prosperity and dismissed peace. North Korea's nuclear program and missile provocations pose a serious threat to the peace of Korean Peninsula and beyond. To detect its reckless behavior, the alliance must stand united with the determinations, as President Reagan once said, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance. We must make his words clear to North Korea. Yesterday, President Biden and I agreed to strengthen the United States extended deterrence along with the close Korea-United States coordinations. We need to speed up Korea, United States, Japan, trilateral security cooperations to counter increasing North Korea nuclear threats. My government will respond firmly to provocations, but at the same time, we will keep the door open for dialogue of North Korea's denuclearizations. Last year, I proposed the audacious initiative. It will significantly improve North Korea's economy and livelihood. All Pyongyang has to do is to stop its nuclear program and begin a substantive denuclearization process. I once again urge North Korea to cease its provocations and take a right path. Korea with the United States will continue to work for North Korea's denuclearizations. Thank you. North Korea's obsessions with nuclear weapons and missiles is throwing its population into the severe economic crisis and human rights abuses. We must raise global awareness of the dire human rights situations in North Korea. We must not shy away from our duty to promote freedom for North Koreans. Last month, my government published a report of North Koreans' human rights. We released it is the public of the first time. The report documents wide range of views in North Korea. It is based on the testimonies of the 508 North Korean defectors collected over the past 5 years. It records many cases of serious violations of international norms, such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the other human rights agreements. Unspeakable and horrendous incidents took place, men and women being shot and killed for violating COVID-19 prevention measures, some being publicly executed for watching and sharing South Korean shows, and people being shown in public for possessing the Bible and having faith. We need to raise awareness. We must inform the world of the gravity of North Korea's human rights violations. I ask for your help in improving North Korea's grim conditions. My friends, freedom and democracies are once again under threat. The war against Ukraine is violations of international law. It is an attempt to unilaterally change the status quo with force. Korea strongly condemned the unprovoked armed attack against Ukraine. When North Korea invaded us in 1950, democracy came learning to help us. We fought together and kept our freedom. The rest is history. Korea's experience shows us just how important it is for democracies to uphold solidarity. Korea will stand in the solidarity with the free world. We will actively work to safeguard the freedom of the people of the Ukraine and support their effort in reconstruction. Honorable members of Congress, so far 6 Korean presidents spoke at this important chamber. The first Korean president, Dr. Lee Seung-man, delivered his speeches in 1954. After 35 years, in 1989, President Roh Tae-woo, standing at this podium, said the following: "The nations of the Pacific have made open society and the market economy. The engines that drives the fastest growing region in the world, the Pacific, will become even more important to the United States, and Korea will begin to contribute more the prosperity and the peace of the region. I look forward to the day when so many future Korean presidents may be invited to the address this distinguished assembly and describe the vision I spoke of today as the achievement fulfilled, not as a tomorrow hope. President Roh's vision has become a reality. Thank you. We are currently living the Indo-Pacific era. This region is home to 65% of the global population and 62% of the world GDP. It accounts for the half of global maritime transportation. Last year, Korea announced its first comprehensive Indo-Pacific strategy. Korea is committed to fostering free, peaceful, and prosperous Indo-Pacific based on their inclusiveness, trust, and their reciprocity. We will strengthen the rule-based order in the Indo-Pacific. We will take a comprehensive and multi-layered approach in the expanding cooperation with key partners. This also means that the stage of the alliance is expanding. Korea used to receive assistance from the USAID. It is not sharing its experience with the developing countries. In partnership with the United States, Korea has greatly increased its ODA budget. It is providing tailored programs in tune with the needs of its partners. Yesterday, President Biden and I adopted a joint statement. It presents visions of the alliances in action towards the future. Together, our two countries will broaden our alliance. Together, we will lead the innovations beyond the security and foreign policy. I work closely on artificial intelligence, quantum technology, bioscience, and open land. Our partnership in the cutting-edge semiconductors industry will contribute to establishing stable and resilient supply chain. It will also address economic uncertainties. Together, we will open another new successful chapter. We will explore new frontiers in outer space and cyberspace. Korea and the United States are the world's top technological powers, leading innovations and their creativity. Together, we will create a great synergy. Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President, and honorable members of Congress, our alliance is an alliance of universal values of freedom. Human rights and democracy are the very foundations of our bonds. Our alliance is for justice. Our alliance is for peace. Our alliance is for prosperity. Together, our alliance will continue to move toward the future. We will build the world of tomorrow that opens endless opportunity for our future generations. I look forward to everyone being on board for our new journey together. I look forward to everyone being on board for our new journey together. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. And may God bless our great alliance. Thank you. 네. 윤석열 대통령의 연설이었습니다. 제가 이것을 제 방송에 남기고자 참으로 어저께는 행복한 날이었습니다. 우리나라 대통령이 44분 동안 거기서 미의회에서 상하원이 모인 곳에서 방송을 통해서 들었지만 26번의 기립박수를 받았고 50여 번에 걸쳐서 큰 박수를 받았다는 것, 우리는 가슴속에 기억해야 될 것입니다. 네, 여러분 구독 버튼과 엄지를 눌러주시면 감사하겠습니다. 여러분 안녕히 계십시오.